Mr. Harrigan, has anyone ever tried to take advantage of you? How'd you deal with that?
Harshly.
Mr. Harrigan's phone represents a narrative that I find King returning to a lot, which is this idea of the coming of age story. Can you talk about what you found most appealing and how that element presents itself in Mr. Harrigan's phone?
Yeah, when I read it, I thought that there were similarities to like you said, some other King coming of age kind of stories, including The Body and things like that. I just love the way his world is completely normal. He's looking at it through a lens that we all can look through, and yet there's an uneasiness to it. And so the fact that, I mean, Ryan Murphy, called it after he read the script. He goes, "Oh, I know what this is." He goes, "It's a paranormal coming of age," and it is. And that's kind of what it is. But I think dramatically, the coming of age is something I wanted to look at and promote, because it's also about a shared sense of loss between someone in their 80s and someone who's a teenage boy, and the fact that loss doesn't know age. And grief doesn't know age. And it's, so those were some of the themes that I thought were worth looking at.
From the surface, it seems like a horror or suspense thing just because of Stephen King's name. And there are suspenseful elements, but it is a coming of age. It's about the relationship between the two characters. And I loved that element of it. And the fact that it wasn't horrifying, the fact that he was getting these messages from Harrigan after he had died. I think it was very real the way that he reacted, and then eventually it becomes sort of intimate. It becomes his last connection with this person that he truly loved, and I love that. It's supernatural, right? And it's not grounded in reality, but it's something that feels like it could happen. It feels real, personal.
Do you have an interaction between their two characters that kind of sticks out in your mind as like that is their entire relationship encapsulated in this one moment?
I think there's a scene that actually wasn't in the novella that I added, and it's because I was thinking about it and I go, wow, he reads to Mr. Harrigan for a long time, and now he's in high school and he still comes. And somebody asked the question, they go, "Why do you think he still comes?" And I go, that's worth looking at. So I wrote a scene that was Mr. Harrigan asking him, "Now that you're in high school, you probably got better things to do than come and read to an old man."
I come here because I like the smell of your books. I come here because I love our talks. I come here because when I read out loud, it gives me a sense of power that I don't have outside of this room. I come here because I want to.
There's a power shift in a certain way that the boy becomes the man and the man becomes the boy. And you realize how closely bonded Craig is to Mr. Harrigan, how important the relationship is to him. And you also realize on the other side, how important the relationship is to Mr. Harrigan. And Mr. Harrigan's face tells us, this is my only and best friend. And so I think that scene that, I'm not saying yes, and I wrote it and it wouldn't, it's completely just wrapping my arms around what King was already saying.
And that comes part and parcel with adapting anyone's work.
Yeah.
And when it comes to adapting a King story, I'm actually curious, having seen a lot of King adaptations, I'm always interested to know, for those that adapt novellas, his shorter stories, did you find that more freeing, or did you wish there was more to pull from at any point in the adaptation process?
It's a good question. It's the first novella I've adapted, and I found it more difficult because of one, it's Stephen King, and you go, well, at some point he's going to read this. I hope he likes it. And the other thing is that going in that you're going to have to add things. It's an 80-something page novella, and so it's sometimes it's less about adding new scenes and more about activating existing scenes. Our narrator is talking about something that happened in the past, and he might describe, something that happened to somebody that lived in Harlow. And so I can take that same story and activate it and make Craig get on a bike and go to this place to try to find out about this guy that is talked about in a paragraph of the novella. So activating it in a way was a good challenge. And I'm very pleased with how it all worked out. I think it's able to coexist with Stephen's work and in some ways be the same. I think it's reverent in all the right ways.
Obviously, you are a veteran King adapter now. This is your second, I believe. Well, technically, if you count chapter 2, it's your third King adaptation. Was there any hesitation on your part in doing another King adaptation so soon after those movies?
No hesitation. Of course not. I think he's Stephen King. He's brilliant. He's the best at what he does. And also, I think with a story like this, it's not like doing another horror film. It feels very personal and it feels very real, and it feels like beautifully written drama that utilizes this supernatural element to further the message and to raise the stakes a little bit.
My grandma always used to say, a person shouldn't call out unless they want an answer.